structured approach to innovation, because this is exactly the part of the message that I have today. If you take a more formalised approach to innovation, you're far more likely to be successful. The image I have there of a light bulb is to remind us all that disruptive innovation is not new. If you go back to the era pre the electric light and the electric Irish rural electrification program was in the 50s and 60s, so large swathes of this country didn't have electric light, and that was true around many places in the world. And the dramatic changes that have happened since then. Now think of all the disruptions that are happening today: social media, cloud, analytics, etc. And the changes that have happened with the electric light are going to be as disruptive as that was, but in many, many different ways. The pace of change is accelerating. I like this quote from Shane Nolan of Google: "Today is the slowest day of technological change that you will ever experience in your lives." Now, just reflect on that. So the pace of change is rapidly accelerating. What are you going to do about it? The guy in the top left-hand corner is Thomas Edison. He's famed for inventing the electric light, but he didn't actually invent it. He was one of the first people to patent it in the US before he actually had developed a successful device, which he did very methodically. There was a full street of lighting in Newcastle upon Tyne by Joseph Swan. So you have to be the most successful. Part of it is including the patents that Francis was talking about. It isn't just being the first to do it. So how do you go about approaching your development of innovation? Well, you start off with a fuzzy problem, and what you need to do is to develop that into a well-defined innovation challenge. And it requires a very structured approach. You need an innovation strategy. You need to understand what the big picture happens to be, your strategic challenges. As we was hearing earlier on, those strategic challenges include your pest, your political, economic, social, technological, etc. You also need to understand your stakeholder needs to do that very well. But it's not only the stakeholder needs, it's their contributions. So what are they going to give you back? Are they going to give you money, or are you going to collect data from them and they're going to be your data objects? You also need to develop deep customer insights. And all of these form your innovation challenge. So if you pick an example here, so we have a container ship, and we also have someone enjoying water sports. And the challenge here is, how do you combine kite surfing with container ships? This is actually a working reality. So someone has done that combination. They have to go through very systematic testing and trialing to make it a working reality. Now, this is your external challenge. So you're trying to develop a product or service that people want. But you also have an internal challenge, an organizational challenge of developing the right culture, having the right resources allocated into innovation, developing innovation capabilities, and also having the right collaboration. Most organizations can't do it all on their own, and as we're hearing from many, many more speakers today, innovation is about collaboration within an ecosystem and understanding the role that you play within it. So, an innovation strategy defines the innovation challenge and drives a structured process in order to get repeatable innovation management processes. Again, as Francis was saying in the last talk, if you have an ad hoc approach, you're not likely to be as successful as if you take a more structured approach, defining with an innovation strategy. Now, this diagram here shows revenues versus time, and most organizations want to grow their revenues over time. But what's happening is that your existing price point for whatever you sell is being reduced by competitive pressure, whether it's globalization or more local competition. So in order to get a reliable supply of new offerings, you have to innovate. And leading innovators take a more structured approach to innovation. So PwC did a study, and in this study they found that 79% of the most successful innovators used a more structured approach and had an innovation strategy, compared to 47% of the less or least innovative companies. These companies, the leading innovators, They also align their business, the whole of their business, with their approach to innovation. They have a well-defined innovation strategy, and they take a more formal and structured approach to innovation. So what this means is the top innovators, I'm sure many of you amongst them, they treat innovation just like any other business process that can be learned, it can be mastered, and it's a repeatable management process. So there's lots of guidance out there, and this is just one example of the guidance. This is a diagram, part of a diagram from an Irish standard called SWIFT 1, the NSAI, National Standards Authority Violent Standard. And this is just their process, core process for good practice in innovation and new product development. What I want to emphasize here is the starting point on the left-hand side. It starts with leadership and strategy. You really need your top leadership, your top management on board in order to be able to innovate. Then you go through cycles of divergent and convergent thinking in terms of finding out what the opportunities are, selecting those opportunities, and then you go into a cycle of rapid prototyping. And as has been previously mentioned this morning, those prototypes can be done on paper, but really it's about going out, engaging with the customers out there, understanding their needs, and coming back and learning. So whatever assumptions you make in your new product development process, you need to test those assumptions, and you test the most difficult ones first. So you've gone through this process, and you develop your solution, you produce it, and then at the final stage, when you launch it, you have a learning review. You actually understand how to do these things. This is an example of the company, Trevitt Engineering, use the SWIFT 1 standard, and a very structured approach to innovation and new product development. And the statistic that they have is it helped their growth by 26% in 2014. So there's real examples of using a structured approach. Now there's many other approaches, SWIFT 1 is one of them. Francis again mentioned this. A new SEN European standard was launched for innovation management systems at the end of 2015 in Dublin Castle. And what this standard is, it's a consensus on what best practice happens to be. It's not a perfect standard, no standard is, but it has a lot of very good material, a lot of good ideas, and it's designed to be suitable for all types of organisations, including SMEs. Francis has already mentioned the various parts, so I won't really talk around those. But what I will mention is just very briefly a couple of those. Intellectual property management, that's very key. People will steal your lunch if you allow them to. I've worked for companies that within about 3 months of making a particular product, and we're talking an advanced telecommunications product, such as a DSL, broadband, etc. It was copied, both software and hardware, all the protocols, identical in all respects by a Far Eastern company. I'm not going to mention the country, because that I was told not to discriminate against countries. I was mentioning this example. I also lecture on innovation strategy, and one of my students happened to be from that country, and I thought, oops, can't say that. So the other thing I want to mention is the innovation management assessment. Like all things that you do in your organisation, you need to know how good you are at the moment and what the gap is between where you are at the moment and where you want to get to. So I'm going to go through and look at some of that now. So one of the approaches, this is another model here, this is A.T. Kearney's House of Innovation. They have an assessment tool based upon it as well. It shows best practice. At the top of this is your innovation strategy. You need a clear innovation strategy, and what this should provide you is strategic clarity on your innovation challenge. This is clarity both externally and internally. So what do you need to do internally to actually deliver an innovation, as well as what you need to do externally? You also need to develop an innovation culture, an innovation organisation, and that needs to be supported by your leadership team. And if it isn't supported by your leadership team, and that's more than playing lip service. If you have a blame culture, and someone sticks their hand up with an idea and they get their head knocked off for it, they're not going to do it twice. So there are cultural things that you need to manage. Also, you need innovation process mastery across the full life cycle of innovation. from idea management all the way through your business model development to your launch. And you need your enabling environment. You need to do things like recruit the right people, do knowledge management, as well as have an agile IT. Another example of innovation management assessment tool is the Innovation Value Institute's IT Capability Maturity Framework. This is based upon 14 capability building blocks, and you can see for yourself the 3 categories: strategy and management, people and culture, process tools, and metrics. I have to stick up my hand here because I've been doing assessments for the IVI for the last 5 or 6 years. The actual framework they have, it covers 36 areas. Innovation is just one of them. This model is a 5-level maturity model, starting at the initial level, moving to optimizing or world-class. One important observation, one thing that the Innovation Value Institute has learned, is that organizations with a higher capability maturity in areas such as innovation, they're significantly more likely to have a success, and repeatable success in terms of innovation. So you can make that journey, you can move along that. So what I want to do now, very quickly, is mention that there are lots of tools to assess your innovation management capability. I've mentioned the Innovation Value Institute's IT Capability Maturity Framework, AT Kearney's House of Innovation, their Improve tool, Enterprise Ireland have a tool. But what I want you to do is go to that URL, get your smartphones out, and do a very quick self-assessment. So there's a 10-question questionnaire. It's anonymous because there's no questions around your company name or who you work for. The idea is, what I want you to do is reflect on your own organization. Go to that link now, just spend a couple of minutes looking at it, and rate on the dials that you see your own organization from 0, not at all, to 10, world class, in terms of your innovation capability. And as you do that, and at the end of doing that, briefly reflect on the gaps in your own organization's innovation capability. So I'll let you do that for a minute, and we have the time in the talk, so I've allowed for that. So if you do that. I tested the link this morning, it should work. So can everyone read what the link is? So if anyone has actually been through that just now, is very quick at doing these things, I'm very happy to sort of take your questions on that and what your reflections happen to be on doing your own very quick self-assessment. Do you find that everything you're doing is world class? Do you think there are gaps between where you are now and where you would like to be? It's a useful thing to stop and reflect on your own organisation and what your ambition is for innovation. One of the important things, and I haven't mentioned this, is what is your innovation ambition and your innovation ambition for your organisation? And some of that is a cultural thing. And you need to understand, well, where do you want to get to? Where can you realistically move your organisation to? Maybe with a bit of a stretch goal, but that's something to think about. Has anyone actually completed the survey yet? Okay, a few of you completed it. Any initial thoughts on that? On your own organisation? Are there room for improvement? Yeah? Okay, so the lady down here, if you couldn't actually hear her, said it makes you think and perhaps identify some glaring gaps on things that you might need to do. Anyone else in terms of their thoughts? They're all reflecting very deeply on your innovation capability. So, let's go back one. Thank you very much. I'm here to take questions if you'd like. Any help on innovation management assessments or on innovation strategy, please contact me at david@innovationpathway.eu. I still have a minute, so I'll take questions if you have any. Anyone got any questions? You all work for perfect organisations. Thank you very much.